What's up, Jake? How are you, Dr. Clendenning?
Well, the Michael Libercci, how the heck are you today, man?
Doing all right, man.
You're
I've
good.
been uh, I've been running around a lot lately, a little bit more than normal, which, as you know me, I don't sit in one place for more than about 4 hours. So it's been even more chaotic.
You say
And
4 hours is a long time for you to be
I
in one
know,
spot.
man, it's
Yeah.
like I barely sleep, in one spot. It's like I'm on the run or something. So I wanted to bring something up to you, right? I was in Maryland, and I was at this grocery store that I love. It's this little bougie grocery store. They just put up a sign, and they've been open for like 50 years. The sign says market. Okay. Now, I know that area is just outside of DC, right? I get like four things, and they're prepared food, right? But nothing great. It comes in like like containers. It's not super. $50, dude. I walked out of there with like 50 bucks. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, I could have went to a restaurant. Like $50. I'm not even being cheap, right? I'm just saying, I think food's gotten outrageously expensive. I mean, I don't want to sound like a mensch here, but like I really feel like uh, I don't know what's going on. I feel that we're missing an opportunity. We should be in the food industry. I mean, you hear all these. I do. I feel like we should have like a food product. I've got a couple stories for you that I learned this weekend, and I want to share them with you. And then I want to talk about today about when and where you can inject yourself into the market in different markets, and maybe we'll talk about that a little bit today. But talk to me about the state of you're out west, right? Wyoming, Midwest, West. What's the food stores out there? I mean, I realize you probably grow and kill your own stuff on the ranch, but like, what do you got there? How's it out there?
And yeah, we're seeing the same stuff, Mike. And it is really, really, here's the aggravating part is if you want to eat crap, it's cheap. If you want to
Yeah,
eat good, it is expensive to eat good. Like when I say good, I don't mean like fancy. I mean like quality food, like something you're getting good caloric intake from, and not just here. This is your deep fried corn dog, and whatever it's going to be. That said, Cheyenne Frontier Days is coming up, and that's like the thing they do is deep fried corn dogs. So sorry, I got slightly distracted. And those are like $12 a piece, by the way, for a corn dog when you go to Frontier Days. But yeah, it's crazy expensive to eat healthy at this point. So I mean, like when you're talking, you say the bougie market. I mean, I'm thinking when I think that, I think Whole Foods or I think Natural
yeah.
Pantry or something like that. But you're talking just a cool
This
little
is a
mom and pop
straight up
shop. Yeah.
It's a straight up, look it up. It's called Grosvenor Market, like Grovsner, Grosvenor Market. And they're an awesome little grocery store it's killer. I gotta be honest, it's killer. It's got a ton of kosher food as well. So if you eat like kosher, it's amazing. I don't get anything for this promo, but it's kick ass. And the fact that they just have a sign up that says market, not even their name, it's even better. So
Nice.
you know, then, right? So I'm thinking to myself, wow, food is expensive. And you could call it inflation, you could call it big market manipulation, whatever it is, food is expensive.
Hmm.
And, restaurant prices have jumped a little bit. I mean, just kind of things that were one price are now another. So I feel like you're right with the cost of the way food is and eating well. It's almost like you have to now budget for that, meaning mentally or physically budget to eat a little bit better, right?
Hmm.
Or obviously figure out a way to do the old prep cook meal stuff. But
Which is what we do, and we do oh man, we do a lot of that. And so there's a cost trade off, right? We can go totally economic on the model if you want to on this, but like
wow,
we do, like you said, we're I hunt. And it's not news to anybody that that's a piece that I do, and I hunt fundamentally and primarily for groceries. Like that's what it is for. I mean, my freezer historically over the last several years is full of meat, whether that is various red meats or various fowl or fish. And that requires a lot of prep time. We aren't hauling it to the butcher and getting it done. We're processing all of our meat ourselves, vacuum sealing it all ourselves, and it takes time to do this. And it takes, it has taken me a lifetime to get good at it. This isn't something you just go out and you harvest an animal and you process it, that day, and you look up on YouTube and you can do it well. Like, you got to know what you're doing, and it takes time to do it. For me to process, I'll give you an example, an elk, right? Because elk is one of our primaries that we as a family, that's one of our biggest meat sources is elk, and it's incredibly healthy for you. One of the healthiest red meats you're going to get a hold of. And there's plenty of people that are going to go, don't eat red meat, it's bad for your cholesterol. And they're not wrong. And yet elk is one of those that is like really good for your good cholesterols as a meat. Um, it will it it's not cheap to go out and harvest an elk. I want to be clear on that in the beginning. Like, I can do the cost breakdown of price per pound, and it's cheaper for me to go buy hamburger at the store. It is. But I'm getting way more quality meat. So even when you're doing it yourself, it's still costing, you still got to budget it. You got to plan for it. But like, I've got probably easily a grand, right? Easily a grand into about 250 pounds of meat. Easily a grand, probably a little bit more if I'm being really honest. Like, it's probably like, and there's some joy in that recreational that goes into some of that too. But, and then we garden. Like, we have a great big garden. We go to the farmers markets. We go to the U pickets. We have got, we belong to a thing called, I think it's the fruittruck.com. And we don't get any promos for this, but it is a fresh fruit truck that drives around the country and delivers fruit to, like, we don't get peaches and oranges in Wyoming. This country does not grow that. We have to ship them in, but they'll bring them to us from Florida. So we bring them up and we buy boxes of peaches and boxes of oranges and boxes of this and that and blueberries and strawberries, and we process them all. We freezer bag them and we put them all away. So we've got freezers full of good for you food. It's still not cheap. It's not cheap to do it. In order for us to eat healthy, and Mike knows this too. My wife grows microgreens, right? We have a full microgreen setup to be able to grow our own stuff in the garage, and we've got about a 10-day turnover on a tray of microgreens. So like, and I know Mike gets it all the time. When she sells them wholesale, they sell for, this sounds terrible to even say it this way, it still cracks me up, but it sells for $5 an ounce is what
At
microgreens
least.
sell for. It's about $5 an ounce on greens. And yes, we grow them less expensive, but it still costs us about $3 an ounce to grow them.
Yeah, you got to
That's
process it, store it, transport it.
yeah.
So I like what you're saying there, man, because there's all these movements for people to grow their own food and grow their own stuff, but no one's thinking about the processing component of it. So I'll give a couple of ideas here, right? And again, I know this isn't a diet show, but this is really what it takes to take care of the entrepreneur. You might have a family you got to provide for, take care of yourself, sustain energy, sustain focus. And again, if you're trying to grow and do something and you're trying to be conservative in your lifestyle, but you still need to eat, I mean, these are some good ideas, right? So if you think about it, the average human needs anywhere from 1,500 to 2,500 calories, depending on exercise. Could be up to 3, depending on activity. If you're a construction worker out there doing manual labor, a lot more, right? If you're a desk person doing nothing all day long physically, but mentally, not that much calories, right? Go into your chat GPT, break it down, ask for macronutrients, ask for the nutrient breakdown of what you need. Give yourself 5 or 6 quick meal shopping lists. If you say, I need quick meal shopping lists from these grocery stores, chances are it'll give you just the right amount of ideas, even if it doesn't have that grocery store in mind. You could be economical. Now, I was in a rush and I didn't mind paying the 50, but it was, oh man, it was sticker shock.
But next time
I go back, I'm going to aim for 16 to 20, right? Like, so for a prepackaged meal, 16 to 20 is probably all right. I can get away with it for 9 to 10. And, if you get one chicken breast and go down to the old green beans aisle, chicken breast and green beans, you're out of there for $11, right? Maybe less. You could probably get sub 10 on that if you really want it. But I really wanted a little bit more food. I had not eaten for a while, but still, you can get it for a lot cheaper. And you have to understand, right? When you're taking care of yourself, you have to understand for performance, you've got to look at the big picture on a regular basis, right? Like on a sustained level of Monday to Sunday, how you're operating nutritionally and physically Monday to Sunday affects, depending on your age, affects your clarity, affects your performance, affects your mood, it affects your decision making processes. The more you can optimize on the health and fitness side of your life, the more you can optimize, the less crap you're going to have to work back away from, right? Like, think
Mhm.
about it. If you're not feeling, we've seen this, right, with a person we work with. We don't know why. This goes for anything, right? But like, let's say you're really tired and beat up and you're super moody. You take it out on a coworker. Now you've got to spend X number of hours, not repairing, but walking that back. And then it's got to dissipate. And then you've got to get back to work. And by the time you're done, that could be 3 hours out of your day, out of your week. That's ridiculous, right? You're an executive, right? Or you're an attorney and you're taking people out for dinners and ordering, order your custom food. If you're doing a lot of dinners, customize your dinners, right? Order some stuff that's going to make sense and understand when and where you are. But in terms of like maximizing, I like the freezer bag idea, Jake. I like the fact that you're getting all that stuff shipped in. Hey man, I got about here in Jersey, South Jersey, I've got like 20 different fields over there in the with oranges and peaches. I can run down the street and go to any 10 farm stands and get what I need. But
But it takes
that's
planning. Like
takes
you got to plan
planning.
to do that. That's not a convenient thing. Like the
No,
grocery you go past is on your route. Like
and you
it's
need
there.
cold storage, or you're paying for cold storage, and that's part of that tax, right? So
That's
if
a piece of it.
if I'm out and away from my location and I don't have cold storage, right? On a hot summer day, it's really hard to keep a cooler cold in my car. Now you could get a plug-in like a Bouge RV cooler that runs
Mhm.
off a car battery or a solenoid. That works great. You get these deep freezer ice packs and get a Yeti cooler. But again, you're planning. And then you
Mhm.
have to then figure out, okay, how do I get the food literally out of the place it's at? Make sure the thing I can refrigerate the next day. There's all these factors. So if you're not bringing the prep with you, you're paying for the convenience. And that's what I was doing. I was paying for the convenience. And I
I
was paying
agree with
for
that.
the fact that somebody else made it, somebody else stored it, somebody else served it to me, and then I kind of carried it out of there. I paid for the fact that I didn't take the time to prepare, didn't have the time actually that day, take the time to prepare. I mean, I ate it clean. It was a piece of salmon. It was a superfood power salad. I forget what else it was. It was this other thing called an Israeli salad. It was awesome. It was great. It was wonderful food, but at the same time, you pay. Now, let's talk about something else that's really cool while we're on this topic. Let's talk about sort of our guild slash leadership academy, right?
I mean, paying for somebody else to do the work, that's a nice segue. I like that.
Yeah, right. So listen, if you dig what we're talking about, right, and you hear what we're saying, and as we get a little more nuanced in some of these conversations, we're trying to be as real as possible, Jake and I, and we want to bring it from both perspectives, right? I'm kind of this guy running around like a maniac. Jake is at his farm ranch running around like a maniac, processing food, building things, doing things. Yet we're both working with people and have a family and a life and a full lives, right? If this is you and you're struggling in any component of trying to manage this whole situation, what do you say, Jake? You take it from here, man.
Yeah, man. You can click that QR code in that bottom corner over there underneath Mike. You can go to www.total-disruption.com to join the guild. This is about just being part of a community that's being real. That is talking about the things. Sure, we do talk about the how do we write your high ticket offer? How do we do your mid-level offer? How do you, set up your speech from stage? How do you write your book? We're talking about all that stuff too, but much like what we're talking about today is the how are you functioning as a human being Note the human being, not human doing. How are you functioning as a human being at your best possible way every day? How are you being that performance athlete? Because the reality is, take a look around you in business. There's athletes and there's bench riders. Who are you? So I can tell you that who's in the guild, these are the athletes. And that's who we're coaching, is we're coaching this all-star team.
So it's not even that. It's unlock your fullest potential of your life. Get past your weak points throughout your day. Find your zones of productivity. Figure out your sticking points in your marketing. Figure out your work-life balance. Right? The benefits are there. We're there. We are on this planet to create the easy button for you to get awareness of information, to help you, provide you with the tools to accelerate. And you're doing the work. We're right there with you, and we want you to succeed, right? It's if you're not into hard work or whatever, this is probably not for you. I think I just passed this up on this offer. But if you like what
Entrepreneurship
we're
is
saying,
not for you if you're not into hard work.
we're not we're two people where everybody pushes us down, right? Like we're always working through the muck. If this is you and you want to be relatable and you need some people that are relatable, this is your community. It's just people that are doing the do, right? And we are doing the do. So I learned something cool. That's enough of this guild nonsense. I learned something cool this weekend that I never thought I would. I'm at a tournament an away tournament, and one of my son's teammates' parents, they are in the fried chicken market, right? Like the chicken strips and tenders, and they have an awesome product, and they go through extensive ways to make sure it's like kosher, halal, like really clean. Yeah, okay, it's fried chicken, but it's the base protein is super awesome, and it's got a great taste. And what I learned is their company does amazing, and they do like some crazy like 1,000,000 pounds a week or something in chicken. Like it's just an insane amount. What I learned is when the other protein markets are up, chicken becomes low. And it's this weird ratio in protein markets. I never even thought to think about protein markets, right? And I never even thought to think about the food market in and of itself, right? For investment or for just planning purposes, right? And the affordability of chicken, and sometimes having, like I think this company does, they make a small percentage off a lot of volume, right? So if you're out there in the world, and just because something is expensive, right? Something else in that genre could be a target for you to represent, or
Mhm.
price or position accordingly to be able to compete, thrive, and grow. My example would be, okay, fine. If beef and pork are $3 a pound, no idea, and chicken is $1 a pound, well, you've got a delta of $1 to $1.50 to be able to profit off of that. And that to me is a gap. So I asked you, Jake, what do you have to expound on that for our audience who's looking for either temporary offers to be able to throw out there in their business, or some other product or program they're trying to inject into a marketplace that's competitive, yet is beef better than chicken? Is chicken better than beef? I don't know. That's up to everyone
Depends
else's
if you want a
research.
Chick-fil-A or a McDonald's, right? Depends on what franchise you're part of. So I love where this conversation is going. This one's cracking me up. So I do want to make a quick pitch for bang for your buck from an athletic standpoint for you. You are not going to get more go juice than you will out of microgreens. Like research it, take a look at them. Like microgreens are Mike just talked about a superfood salad. That's what we grow is primary superfoods mix. Like she grows a crunchy mix too, but I really like superfoods. You get like if you go back to the old school food triangle of how much vegetables, like I got to back up to tell you how big this bowl of vegetables is, of how much kale I'd have to eat. Like it's a huge amount of vegetables to get what you need out of it. Microgreens is 2/3 of a cup per day. 2/3 of a cup of microgreens is 100% of your daily value of everything you need vegetable wise. I'm a huge fan. One, because I'm lazy when it comes to salad. So I can like grab 2/3 a cup of microgreens and I feel like a rock star. So that's my short pitch for that. But I love microgreens. Look into them, go get them. So when we're talking about the protein market, and this is, we're going to use this analogy. It's real, right? But we're going to use this analogy because you need to think about when you're doing certain things in your business, regardless of your product or your service. So let's stay in protein land. There are, I'm going to use turkey as an example. We haven't talked about turkey. We want to give them a little bit of fair time today. There's times not to buy turkey and there's times to buy turkey. The greatest time of year to buy turkey, if you're going to store it and put it up and use it as a protein, is what day? Anybody? If there's a bigger audience, I would ask. It's the day after Thanksgiving.
November 26th.
29 cents a pound. You can get turkeys for 29 or less the day after Thanksgiving. The week before Thanksgiving, $4.95 a pound. That's a significant difference. Think stock market when you're thinking protein, but think stock market play when you're working on your product or whatever it is, right? You don't buy high and sell low. You buy low and sell high. That's the point. So if you're in call it a midstream market, I'm a supplier, right? I do product procurement. I have to procure said product and then I have to distribute it at a retail space. Now we're talking business. We're not talking consumer. Pay attention here. If I'm talking consumer, I buy all my turkey the day after Thanksgiving. If I'm a distributor, I procure all of my turkeys the day after Thanksgiving. And then I hold them cold storage until the week before Christmas. And then that's when I sell them. I don't just turn right around and sell them because I'm trying to buy low and sell high. The same way the stock markets are working. So it's your same way in your business is when can you do something? And this requires planning. This is much like we were talking about earlier with your diet, which I loved Mike's tip of ask Chat GPT, not B, how to set up your diet. Here's who I am. Here's what I want to eat. Where can I get it? Like, what a brilliant way to use that as an individual. But the same is true here, right?
Disclaimer, though, obviously get a well qualified nurse or correct dietitian.
Get it. But as a quick thing, hey, I need microgreens. Where can I get them? I'm driving from here to there.
Right? Yeah. Like don't live your life based on advice from a TV show directly without getting a second medical opinion.
Nice disclosure. But it's still a good way to use AI. But think about Mike made the reference between the beef and the chicken markets because they tend to vary as well. They do tend to slide. And that's where I've always laughed at the Chick-fil-A commercials. Again, we don't get promos for that because you have a cow saying, eat more chicken, right? You always have that. But that's how the market works too, is because you have those fluctuations and there is seasonality related to proteins. There is also seasonality related to produce. You can't just get certain produces all the time. You can't. They only show up in the prime season. And guess what you're going to pay during prime season? Prime prices. But that also goes straight back to the farm. They sell them at the best possible. You can go to fish. Fish has seasonality too. You cannot get tuna all the time. You can't get fresh tuna all the time. You can get frozen tuna. You can get prepackaged tuna. I mean, you're going to pay a cheaper price for that. But again, peak seasonality, you're going to pay peak seasons for it. Think hotels, right? We travel all the time. If I'm going to go to Disney World between Memorial Day and Labor Day, I better plan on paying peak season hotel prices because that's when everybody's there. Am I going to get should I go over Christmas? No, because I'm going to get peak season pricing. Should I just yank my kids out of school in say like October and go? Because there's nobody there. And it's going to be a lot cheaper. So just think it through on seasonality, what's going on, not necessarily convenience of when I could possibly go do that. It's easy for me to take the time off in June and go to Disney World, but I'm going to go with everybody else and I'm going to pay peak season pricing versus I'm going to get better pricing. So in your business, think about what are the seasonality factors that affect either my supply and demand, and or what's affecting my customers if I'm a coach. What's affecting them from seasonality?
There you go. Well, that takes research and planning.
That's
Anyway,
it.
so look, we've come up to with a lot of enlightening things today. I'm glad we discussed the price of food, the price of chicken, where to go, what to do. Total-disruption.com. Check us out on all the social channels. We're on every one of them, doing all kinds of things. My advice to you people: tune in next time. Total Disruption. For Dr. Clendenning, I'm Mike Libercci. Now it's your turn to disrupt.